Hello everybody, it's Clara or Cosmo Glaze. This is the RTFX extension, and trust me when I say you need to get this. This is a very amazing After Effects extension that every editor needs to have. You can easily download it by following the instructions that will be attached to you when you download your order. Let's jump straight into the video, shall we? So I finally finished making this edit, and yes, I did spend a long time on it, but I just thought it looked kind of plain when I finished it. So I'm going to show you guys how I used the RTFX extension to add some final touches and make it look more presentable and also more interesting. RTFX has so many categories that are all amazing tools to help you and your edits. That includes fire, electricity, liquid, smoke, text animations, and more overlays. My favorite thing about it is that all you have to do is just double click, and the better thing about it is that all of them come in a composition within the project itself, so it's so easy to change the settings in order to suit your own personal preferences. So of course I chose a liquid overlay for the beginning of my edit. The first thing I did was I went ahead and tweaked the settings a bit to fit my style more. And since they're all so flexible, it's almost possible to make it fit anyone's style with just a few simple clicks. Feel free to follow along as I explain. So now I'm changing the color of the overlay to white, so it will be easier for me to change the colors later. I am just adding gradient to the layer right now, and I'm changing the colors to the ones I prefer. I'm using purple and white because that's the color of the backgrounds right now. Next, I added bevel alpha. This is a very useful effect and it's one of my favorites. It makes any shapes or layers that's alpha look extrude, and I'm also adding drop shadow to make it look more 3D. After this, I decided to add S glow to it because I thought it would make the overlay look more glowy and 3D, and I thought it would make it fit the edit more because the whole edit is just very bright and colorful. Next, I clicked into all my compositions to the one with all my 3D layers for this transition, so I can add more layers of effects from the RTFX. But first, I decided to add something to the person masking, which is something from tools, and it's extremely useful. So again, this is an alpha-based tool, meaning that if you have a composition with a transparent background, you can apply this to it. And I decided to use the saber outline, and if you have a transparent layer, you can apply it, and the saber is just going to go around the person or a 3D object or whatever you wish. And you can also change the settings very easily on the effects controls. As you can see, I decided to change mine from blue to purple. So for the next transition, I decided to use these cute electricity burst overlays, and again, you can change the colors in them or the speed or the amplitude or the frequency, and I'm just adding this on top of the transition on Charlie's face over there. And next, I went ahead to this folder, and there are a bunch of these really cool burst overlays that are really useful to just add to the beats on your edits, and I chose one that looks really simple and elegant. So when I apply it, I'm going to make it white so it would fit the edit more, and again, you can just click into it and change the color to white. So now I decided to add a twist to it by duplicating the layers 3 times and moving it a bit, which creates this very cool triple effect. And now I am just scaling a bit and moving it to the front so it fits the 3D flip. So I also wanted to make the background have more motion to it, so I chose this line animation to add as a 3D layer, and of course I changed it to white again because I'm using them as line overlays and I don't want them to look too complicated. As you can see, I'm using a rectangle setup, so I have to zoom in to make it fit the height. I also adjusted the Z position as I did before, and I added the drop shadow to it. In between the second and the third transition, I wanted to use one of these swirl overlays so it would look really cool. So I copied and pasted it into the previous composition, double clicked into it, and changed the colors to white. But this time I will be using gradient and bevel alpha because this is a very major transition in between two clips and I want it to look more detailed. So at first I wanted to just make it a plain color, but then I decided to add some keyframes to it that will change from purple/pink to orange because of the second part of the edit. So you can do this very easily by just clicking on the stopwatch frame on the place you want to add a keyframe to, and I also added drop shadow. For the next part, I noticed that this audio sounds very like bouncy and liquidy, so I found this really cute smoke or like water splash burst overlay, and you can see that I already have this little warp shake going on over here, and just copy and pasted the settings from over there to this. And I also added S glow, and I adjusted the scale to make it fit on Charlie's face. For this part, I wanted to add some fun, liquid, and simple overlays, and I just chose this one. So I copied and pasted it to the previous composition again, and I scaled it and adjusted the position. I found that the right part matches the transition more because it goes to center, and I copied and pasted my effects again, and I just changed the settings a bit. So as you can see, this transition is just blue themed, so of course I wouldn't use purple, I would use blue, and I changed the gradient ramp from purple to blue. And there are also some things to change in S glow. So the brightness, the glow width, and the white color is also a good thing to change, and I found out that this looks a bit too bright, so I just darkened the gradient color a bit, and now it looks good. Then I decided to add this simple swirl transition to this part. So this is a very simple swirl, as you can see, and I just copied and pasted my settings from before. So these type of overlays from the RTFX is especially useful to velocity editors because they really spice up your velocity edits, and they're also very useful. Like they fit dancing videos a lot because there's outlines, there's swirls, and there's bursts. And you can always put them around the person, and there's like those other smoke overlays, and you can like just put them when they do like a dance move or something, and it's honestly really cool. So I changed the colors, and I'm going to add this other energy burst overlay behind Charlie. As usual, I am clicking into the composition and changing the colors, but sometimes you have to unhide the layers when you click into them because there are a lot of other layers hidden. And you can change it using hue, saturation, brightness, or using the slider on top. And I am changing these colors to make it fit my backgrounds more, but in general, I think RTFX does a very good job in color combinations, so you usually don't have to worry about that. But yeah, so I've decided to copy and paste this into the original clip without any transitions because I think it looks a bit too sudden if I just leave it on top. So I am just copy and pasting it behind Charlie's head, and I am scaling it and making it bigger and moving it to the top. So yeah. So now I wanted to add one of these spark or fire overlays because it just matches the color theme of this specific clip. And I chose this very small firework burst overlay, I guess, and it looks really great, so I just wanted to put it on my clip and like before all the transitions. And again, these sort of overlays are all so useful for velocity editors because overlays are getting really popular these days, and everybody just like adds tons of overlays to their edits. If not, it's just me, but I've seen a lot of velocity editors use a bunch of overlays, so you can definitely hop on the trend by getting this pack. And I don't think adding any specific effects is necessary because like the colors are already kind of good. But if you wanted to give it a more like glowy look, you should add it once again S Glow, my best friend. So this part is me going back to the very first transition and deciding what details I want to add. As you can see, there are so many cool smoke and water overlays in this pack that are honestly useful for not just velocity, but any kind of edits, even like movies and TV show editors. So I clicked into the layer with all my 3D layers and my 3D setup, and I chose this very mystical and magical looking smoky swirl thing, and I'm putting it in between Charlie's hand movement. So I think again these fit especially well with velocity edits because you can see like their TikTok dances and moves will fit very well to these fire, liquid, and smoke overlays. And I'm scaling it and adjusting the position to make it fit the edit. And also it's important to add effects to these overlays because you don't want them to mix with the other effects, but you also don't want them to stand out too much. So that's why I'm using the same color scheme, which is purple, and I'm also changing the color of S Glow because it's gonna make it look more subtle and not too bright. Next, I wanted to use a more complex liquid overlay, and as you can see, there are so many amazingly, brilliantly animated liquid overlays in this pack, and you can't get them anywhere else, so that's another reason why you should get this pack. And I will be changing the colors of it, which will also show you how flexible they are in a moment. But before that, I will have to split and pre-compose this layer to make sure it works properly. After I do this, I will also be scaling it and make sure it fits properly so it wouldn't look weird or anything. And after that, you can just double click into the composition and look at all the hidden layers, and I'm gonna make this purple. And I also like to change the background color by clicking Command K on my keyboard to make sure I wouldn't be confused or anything. And next, I'm gonna use Color Key to remove the background color so it will be transparent. And I'm gonna set the resolution to full to make sure that the quality is high enough. And now I'm going to be adding bevel alpha to make the edges more extrude and more 3D to fit the other effects in this composition. I will also be adding drop shadow, which I will never forget. And after I do this, I will be adjusting the position of this overlay. I think this is a really important step in making these edits using these overlays because you want it to fit in with the other setups. So are you guys ready for the final result? Because here it is. So yeah, that concludes this video. But before you go, I have something else to say about this pack. So there are so many amazing things that I couldn't fit in one video about the RTFX pack, But basically, what you have to know is that this pack literally helped me so much in my editing career, if you can call it that, because whenever I lost inspiration, I just immediately turned to RTFX, because there are 1,000 elements. I mean, you'll never finish using them, and you'll always get new ideas from using this pack and new transition effects. And you can definitely take inspiration from my edits, my settings, and whenever you run out of inspiration, just go for this pack. And also, for 1,000 elements, the price is honestly a steal. So make sure you consider getting this for yourself, for your friend, for your birthday, for anything, because this is the best extension ever to exist. And think about it, there are 1,000 carefully animated elements in it, and I mean, you'll probably never get tired of them. And this is also really useful because you can use them for your intros, you can use them for your school projects. There are so many good things in it, like, title presets, there are masking presets, there are definitely these really cool elements. So I just think that this pack is gonna help all of you so much if you get it. So if you're interested, please see this for yourself. You can visit the link in the description box down below, and if you purchase, make sure to get it through my link. And if you actually do get them, make sure to send your edits through DMs on Instagram. I would love to see them and your amazing creations with this pack. And there's also another very cool offer that you can view through the link below in the description box. This whole market sells very cool extensions or plugins, which are definitely worth your time to check out. So yeah, this is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye!